We've been here for 2 months now. So it feels very long, and at the same time it feels quite short.
And after 2 months, what is working for you and what is not working for you?
What is working for me is that I came here to grow up and to see all those places where I'm still lacking integrity or lacking showing up in my adult, and so I have a very clear picture on where I am. It's fun as well. It's fun to recognize, and it's fun in a way that synchronicity has created this coming together to give me exactly what I was asking for. And somehow at the same time that's also not working. Like somehow all of that is in the soup of like all my stuff and all everyone else's stuff. And what I mean by that when I say it's not working is like that we're still working out how to utilize the tools of possibility management and how to navigate with each other in our own soup, like in our own cross on with our own cross on the map, like how to make living happening whilst we're growing up, whilst we're finding our next steps and doing our healing and coming back together again. What is not working for me in particular is that my energetic body is craving the bush, like being in nature. Also for Kava, the dog, it's like we're in a house and I've been living in a teepee and a house truck and a tent and a yurt, walking bare feet and showering in a stream and cooking outside, and I'm doing the opposite at the moment for my energetic body. Like I'm in the house, I'm cooking inside, I'm wearing shoes, I'm having hot showers. And so yeah, I guess like it's giving me clarity that I want to move back into living on the land outside most of the time, or where I'm accessing outside as much as possible, and still focus on the social experiment that's happening here right now. And what is working now, the day after yesterday, after we had a convergence, is that we are recognizing when something is not working, and then we talk about what is working and what's not working. So it's a bit of a paradox somehow that yesterday there was a lot of things on the table that are not working for people in the convergence, and we talked about it. We put it all into the middle of the room, and it was ranging from people not finding enough being time with each other, the house not being clean enough, the space holders for different spaces not showing up in their space holding or dropping the spaces. And it seems today, by addressing all of it and putting it all into the middle and just naming it, has made a shift. And also made a shift in the clarity on what I'm here for and what everyone else is here for, so that we know what we're working from each individually, and not living in a fantasy world of where we might be or where we want to be, and then walk around the space and the project pretending that we're somewhere different, or even lying to ourselves or each other to where we might be, and then nothing happens. And the level of responsibility then dropping in the space because people build resentment or can't be bothered doing it all, and turning into responsible victims. Like I have the tendency to turn into a responsible victim, saying I'm doing it all myself. What's working is that we're eating beautiful food, very nutritious and wholesome food from the land, and we seem to also create different foods and get-togethers around food. So it's like we're having brunches and pancakes, and people utilize the different foods that are there to make some beautiful creations for each other. It's working for me to go out, finding goats and butchering and eating from the land in that way. what's working also for me is having having the possibility to practice my space holding skills in everyday life. Or it's like my commitment has gotten stronger that I'm not just a space holder in spaces. Like I'm a space holder every day. And here is the possibility to hold space, to become unhookable, to be there with someone when something's up, to hold space for myself for whatever is up, because I cannot not do that. Because the space is so small and we're so in each other's energetics that I cannot not hold space for what's alive in me or what's alive in someone else. If I was to step out, then I wouldn't be in integrity with wanting to be on a team with everybody, and also making use or being part of the team when I've got something that's coming up. Yeah.
You've been talking about something earlier and you called it the soup. And I'm curious to hear more about that because I really want to share honestly what's going on for us, as this is an experiment, and I want to pass on the wisdom that we're gathering now through going through the soup. What is the soup, Annika?
Yeah. It's got all sorts of aspects. One part of the soup was that 2 or 3 weeks ago I noticed that energetically people were withdrawing from the space. It was like this yes, this excitement, we're like, you know, when you start a project and like everyone is there and you go, yeah, we're going, like, let's do it, like we conquer the world. Like that sensation wasn't in the space anymore. It was like slowly going down, and I was just witnessing that, like just noticing this going down and having various conversations to inquire about what is going on with individuals and looking at the space, what needs to shift or what could shift, who's doing what. I think like what came out yesterday was certainly like that we started not having enough being time together anymore, and people were in the project getting their being time met outside the project. So rather than actually the sensation of like, whoa, like I'm wanting to be here, this is my home and here's where I'm getting nourished, I need to go outside the home to get nourished so that I come back to the project where I can then process all the emotions and all the stuff that's in the space, and where I can negotiate how life can happen, where the logistics are on top of each other all the time. So yeah, like the soup is full of logistical stuff and not so much being a guardian well enough about keeping that separate. So yeah, like somehow like not, I think like basically like not having clarity on intentional spaces. What I'm getting right now is that it's so important to have spaces intentionally for different things and not to mix them then. Yeah, so it's like everyday life, we live together, when we sit on the table and we eat together, we start being guardians for the space that logistics don't come into the eating, like into this family coming together, nourishing time, right? This is outside. When we hold convergence, the shift now is that the convergence is not full of logistics. We're gonna trial 2 hours of addressing whatever is in the space on an emotional level, so doing like an emotional hygiene space where everyone can bring whatever is alive in them, and then I also receive feedback and coaching, ask for healing processes, or processes can happen in the space, and then we keep logistics half an hour a week where everything can come, any proposals for the space that need to happen, and see whether we can hold the tension in ourselves during the week to just keep it out of the space and bring it into the intentional space. And then there's a creation now happening next weekend where we're all going to go together on a hike to have some time together as a team and see how that goes, to go out on a hike with the toddler and the dog and all the things that need to happen in order to go there. so yeah, also like making that happen. And also I think one of the things that seems to be alive is that there, what is it, it's like, seems to be a withholding of the impulses of some people, or of, in the space, like withholding of the impulses on what to create. So it's easier for the gremlin to complain about what's not working, and that the project is shit, and that the people are not showing up, and look for external validation that I made the wrong choice, or this is too hard, than actually recognizing I'm the source and I can create, and being encouraged by your team to bring those impulses into the space. So whether that's to do with next culture, child raising, and the impulses that are maybe alive, but there might be emotions in the space to create that, or whether there's a necessity for celebration and spaces of joy and fun, and a fear of like, no, this is not being wanted, or this is not the space for it, or it's not the right thing, rather than just trialing it out and either getting a go or a beep. So it seems to be that we were operating under an idea of what the space is about, or how this goes, and then developing our own rules around it, how it goes or doesn't go, and how I can express myself or not, or am I responsible enough or not. And yeah, I guess yesterday it seems like that kind of framework like fell apart a bit, of like there's some rules or ways how it goes, and really opening up the space to like bring your impulses and see what results it creates. And there's also been things around the physical aspect of the place, in terms of the soup, that things seem to have just not happened anymore. So on an energetic level, the responsibility seemed to drop, and then it was noticeable that the carpet wasn't cleaned anymore, and that the compost bucket kept on filling up and not being emptied, and that people decided to start eating by themselves rather than together. And so yeah, quite a almost like quite an enmeshment of these different pieces. Like it's like energetically it happens that the yes is not fully there anymore, and then it just kind of crumbles in all areas, to an extent where then the team is not possible anymore. Then I become this individual again that lives by itself and does its own thing, because it's easier than dealing with conflict or dealing with other people in their irresponsibility or something like that. Yeah. And so I think what helped yesterday was like just radically admitting where you are, and taking ownership of where you are not taking responsibility, and feeling your feelings, like your sadness and your anger and whatever else is in there about it. And also being clear, like, okay, like I'm even considering not being here anymore in the space, because I don't really know whether I still want that, and being able to voice that, and yeah, creating something different and new from there. So yesterday I guess like that was a trial for us, that we started out with what's working for you and what's not working for you at the moment after 2 months, and having it all there. And the next step was to talk about your own purpose in the project. So what is it that you're here for, and what are you committed to? And the third part was like, what is it that you're turned on by, and what is it that you want to do in the space? And everyone spoke to their pieces. And with regards to the purpose, we also spoke to how the team can support you in your purpose, and how to get there. And regardless of the purpose, it seems to me that the purpose is really tightly linked to growing up, nevertheless, amongst all of us. Like there is a level of my purpose is like the question of like, okay, how can I be more on a team? How am I like growing into opening myself up to working together rather than doing it by myself? And at the bottom line of this is like, okay, how am I not in survival with myself? Like what patterns do I need to break down in my prison to be present with the people and not busy in my own survival? And it's different for everyone, but I think like the common theme is basically working together through adulthood phase 1 and just different aspects of it and doing different research around that. And so yeah, today we ended up all magically in the kitchen and doing all these creations, and there's a lot that, and I think that's what's working and that's what ties us together, that there's a lot happening around food, around cooking and creating together, and then also eating the food together and sitting together around the table and having non-linear conversations or having linear conversations, and just sharing beautiful food together. Seems to work.
Thank you, Annika.